sorted out here. Hope everyone's having a great day. We're going to be sharpening some stuff today. It's going to be great. Just kind of getting my computer all worked out here. Make sure everything's groovy. We got a network error from Twitch on this computer here. Let's see what the deal is. There we go. Sweet. Look a little rough. I could use a shave, huh? Okay. Okay. Up there for music. Okay. Up there for music. Okay. So, welcome back to my sharpening stream here. We're going to be doing a couple different, we're going to be doing a couple different projects today. The main one that I want to get done, I guess let's back up a little bit. So, I just got this jig last week or so. What is time anyway? Got this jig a little bit ago, and it is kind of built for keeping a really consistent angle on knives as you sharpen them. I've done lots of sharpening by hand in the past, but I kind of wanted to like step up my game a little bit and get kind of a really good consistent edge. So I was asked to sharpen these two knives for someone as a favor, and that kind of inspired me to kind of do this project. So we'll be doing, I did this one last week, sharpened this knife last week, and it worked pretty good. I might still do some cleanup on it. It's kind of just a little dirty, I might just clean it up. However, I didn't do anything with this knife because it's a little scary. I learned some more about it. I put together another tool for myself to use today. We'll be using that, kind of something to help keep a flat edge. And, but this is actually, it is not just a regular knife, this is actually a bayonet. This is a, I learned this is a bayonet from an AK-47, and it was requested of me to sharpen it for a gift for someone. They had a family member pass away. They wanted to give this to their father as a gift before deer hunting season. So I'm gonna get it all tuned up so that they can take it out hunting in the next couple weeks. So unique thing about this knife is that it is in fact it's a single bevel knife. So when we look at it here, this is the side with the bevel. So see how it angles in like that, kind of this way. This side is totally flat, like you'd see in a chisel. So it's going to be a little bit different sharpening it. We're not going to be doing what we did with this other knife. We're actually going to only be doing the jig here for the beveled side. And then I put this together not 15 minutes ago. And this is a, it's like a marble tile. It's like a tile that you'd use for tiling a bathroom or something like that. And these ones that are stone tiles that are cut are perfectly flat. So I've glued on some various grits of very fine sandpaper. So we have 3000, 2500, 2000, and 1500 sandpaper. And we're going to be going up through those grits for the flat side today to get this nice and perfectly flat, just how we would sharpen a chisel. So I'm going to be working on that today. I have a couple other knives that I want to do. We have a This is just a pocket knife that I'd like to have sharpened. Just a pocket knife of mine. It's a Kershaw. And this is kind of out of the box. It was pretty sharp, but I've used it a little bit and it's a little dull now. So I'd like to sharpen that up. And if I am up for it, I might sharpen up my giant scary kitchen knife. This is my cleaver that I like to use. It's quite a nice high carbon steel knife. It was cheap, so I don't really know the quality of it. I'm guessing it's not the best, but it certainly feels nice to use. So I'm going to be sharpening that a bit today. It came very sharp when I purchased it, and going to do that again, get it nice and sharp. This one I'm a little more hesitant to sharpen, as the angles that I have figured out on this sharpener are kind of for knives that show up about here on the jig. You know, they're about there on the jig, as opposed to this was just another like 2 inches further out. So yeah. So I'm trying to decide what to start with. I kind of want to just get practiced up again before I work on someone else's thing. So I'm gonna do probably my pocket knife first. Probably do this pocket knife. It does have a nice bevel on it, and I don't really want to screw it up too bad. Let's see. Oh, here we go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually use a little Sharpie, a little pocket knife, and I'm going to color in. Oh, this isn't showing up whatsoever. This marker is shot. Maybe we won't do that. Do I have a Sharpie within reach? I do. There we go. Okay. All right. So I have the Sharpie here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to be coloring just along the bevel, and this will tell me once I get it set whether or not I did it correctly. So I'm just going to run the Sharpie along there, coloring in that bevel black, and this will just wipe off with some rubbing alcohol. So I'm going to go a little bit above as well. I'm going to do that on both sides, and this will tell me whether or not I have the angle correct. This is not a technique I'll be able to use on the bayonet because the bayonet is hollow ground. I read up on a bunch of forums of people who really like these bayonets though, these bayonets here, who really like them, and a lot of people just were like, yeah, just sharpen it like normal. I don't know how much to trust them, but the general consensus was like, yeah, it's hollow ground, but whatever. Sharpen it like normal. I know, with the exception of keeping that back end flat. Knife Sharpie inner. Yep, that's right. After I did this last week, I had the good old imposter syndrome. A hollow grind, great question. So a hollow grind is, I need a sketchbook down here. So I have one. Knock over all these other books. Out of the way, graphic design books. Okay, so hollow grind is second. Yeah, we'll just use the Sharpie. So typical knife bevel is let's go. So this is a single bevel, like this. And this is looking kind of, you know, this way on the knife, right? Looking up and down like this. This is a single bevel. So this is what you get with like a chisel, right? Flat bevel here, flat side here. So with this kind of knife, which is the same as this one, you need to really make sure that the flat side is super flat. That's your first step to getting it really sharp. Now with a hollow grind, and this is sorry, I keep doubling back there. With this, it's sharpened this way, running a stone up and down this way along that edge. Now, a hollow grind isn't that different, except that it's kind of like this, right? And this is because as this was sharpened, it wasn't sharpened back and forth. It was done on a wheel. So this was sharpened with a wheel to create that kind of inner edge like that. And what it does is it makes, you know, it makes this end very sharp, and it makes it so resharpening it is, I think it just makes it a little bit faster for resharpening it, and it can be more manufactured, very sharp that way. So this is a hollow grind that has that curved inner edge. One other kind of edge to point out is a double bevel or a European bevel, and that's this kind of bevel, which is most of what I'm sharpening here. It does tend to make the edge a little bit more delicate, yeah. And as we sharpen it, we're just going to be like, who cares? And we're just going to go kind of along here. We're going to go back and forth along here, and we're going to make this, we're going to continue to kind of move this bevel this way. It makes it more delicate, and it does make it a little bit more of a, it makes it a little bit more razor-like. I'm not actually sure, so I don't want to misrepresent that. Some things say that, like, oh, it's hollow ground, or, you know, it's a hollow grind edge, which is a good thing, but that's usually with like chisels and stuff. I think it's easier to keep sharp or something like that. Like once you get it sharp, it's easier to keep sharp, but I'm not experienced enough to really say one way or the other. I know with chisels, my chisels all end up like this because I usually sharpen them, at least the initial bevels, on a bench grinder. So I'll do a hollow grind for the most of it because I have a really fine grit bench grinder. I'll do the most of it like this, like the primary bevel, and I'll do a secondary bevel like we're going to do here with the bayonet, where I'll do the secondary bevel like super flat on some really fine grit sandpaper or sharpening stones. Great question. I like questions like this. This is fun. Does that make a little bit more sense? And we'll kind of, I'll pull this back out as we talk about burrs later today as well. Right, let me get this clamped in here. I need my my headphone cable, little clampy pinchy jobber, because this is like, this monitor is pulling down on my ear. It drives me nuts. First things first, I'm gonna put on this glove, which does not have blood on it. That's just rust, and we're gonna hopefully keep it that way. Put the knife in like so. And actually, I'm gonna start on the other side so I can tighten it. Did that answer your question, Vec? I don't know if I did answer that. I might have avoided the question. Oh, nice. Okay. Okay. This together. I'm just attaching. This is the part that holds the scale for sharpening, and then this is the rod that goes in and out of this piece here. Oh no, my Nipix pliers are, I think, in the couch upstairs. I don't have my pliers to tighten this, which makes me feel completely unable to do anything, not having those pliers with me. Shoot. Do I have any other pliers in arm's reach? I have a wrench. I have a mallet. Those aren't pliers. Well, maybe it'll be fine, he said, lying to himself. Okay. I'm gonna start with 180 grit here. We're still a little ways from starting. I just have to do this so we can eyeball it all properly. So I'm just gonna lay this across here, and this is not gonna film very well, so I apologize. But I'm going to basically shine here, and I'm trying to see the bevel, see if the bevel matches at all. See if I can tell if it's more or less shallow. Gosh, that's pretty shallow. Almost looks like it's more shallow than the other thing, which means that we're going to have the same problem we had last week, where the little bolt on the other side was in our way. So we'll see if we can do this low enough. I'm going to try it. We're going to go to 17 and see what that's like. 17 degrees, our best guess of it anyway. And I'm going to see if this is going to have an adverse effect with the bolt on the other side. No, we're not going to run into the bolt at all. So I'm just going to do just a light stroke here. That's affecting. Hey, I might have actually nailed it. That's great. So I'm very evenly removing the Sharpie here. At least on this main part. So it looks like the 17-degree bevel is exactly what we wanted. So I'm just gonna, with the 180 grit, I'm gonna go along. Gosh, it's kind of hard to see, but I'm gonna go along here and flatten this out really good. Oh, you know what we forgot? We forgot to oil our stone. Oops. I still don't have a good system for oiling stuff here. I need to get like a squirt bottle or something like that. Remember to always recap your huge bottle of oil in your fancy video studio. Hey Vec, how's the music volume, by the way? Cool. Oh, thanks, my dude. Hey, how's it going? See, I think I have to go get my... I think I need to go up and get my nib picks because this is not tight and it's actually wiggling a little bit, which is going to subtly change my angle. So I'm actually going to need to step away for just a moment. Oh, nice. That's good. How was class today? Alright, I'll be right back. Super fast. Okay. Try not to knock anything over. Explain the circular motion to me here. Seems counterintuitive to knives. Oh, nothing with knives. I'm out of shape. That's a great question. So I'm doing a circular motion. At this point, it doesn't matter a ton, right? So there are certain situations where you want to go just a particular direction. And this actually does have to do with our discussion we were having earlier about the ways that the different bevels work. So what we're going to be doing with because this is a double bevel knife, we can go back and forth on this. We're going to create a small burr, right? So right here, we're going to basically, there's going to be like a bit of metal that forms on this side up here. You know, maybe creates like a little hook, just about. And I'll be able to feel that with my fingernail or with my finger. And all I do on the other side is I flip it over, and then I do the same thing on the other side, which will remove the burr and create a burr on the opposite end. After I'm done with that pass, I'll move up to a higher grit that's a little bit more fine. I'll do the same thing. I'll start over on the other side, remove the burr, and create a new burr. Flip it over, create a new burr. And so in this scenario, because I'm going back and forth, it doesn't matter if I go up and down. However, with this, if I'm doing a single bevel, like these two, I'm going to probably want to just be a little aware of it. I might need to look this up, but I believe I'm going to want to let me think about this. I think I need to go this way. So I need to pull it. I'm gonna only go this direction on here, which will create the burr on the back side that's normally flat, because that's gonna be really easy to flatten. Yeah, so it could mess it up because I'm not gonna have anything to remove a burr on the opposite side, I think. I don't know. I might have to look this up. But I know it only really will start to matter towards the end of my process. I'll have to think about that. I'm just trying to remember. I've watched like 25 YouTube videos in the last week on knife sharpening, trying to just learn more about this stuff. So I'm trying to churn through all that information. Some of them said, and that's I guess the common theme with knife sharpening, is that it's just full of conflicting information. So half the people said it doesn't matter. No, it's good. Half the people said that circular is fine for most of the time. There's one thing that a guy did recommend, is that, you know, if you go one direction like this, for this side, for this grit, on my next grit, I should move it in the opposite direction as I move up, so that I can see the different hatch marks that are created, you know, the various hatch marks that are created, but each grit will kind of overlap each other, and I'll be able to tell where I've been. No, it's a great question, so you're good. I got this side all 180'd, so we're gonna flip her over. Did I tighten this? I don't know if I did. It was good. I had to catch my breath after walking up a flight of stairs anyway, so it's a-okay. No, and it's good to ask those questions too, because if because if I don't know that, I'm just gonna go and learn it, and then I'll be able to answer the question better next time. So I'm all for good questions. See, as I'm doing this, Sharpie test is actually showing me that this is not the right angle now, somehow. So something happened that I was not expecting. Let's see if it has to do with how this is gripped. Ooh, there we go. I bet that was it. So I'm gonna tighten this again. Oh yeah, it kind of became a little loose. My top camera is a little out of focus, isn't it? I'll have to touch it. I need to figure this out with this camera. Sorry about the gratuitous belly shot. Oops. I wonder what that did. Oops. Let's try that again. Oops. Oops. What did I do? It looks like there's a countdown for when it stops being broken, so we're just gonna rely on that. Going back, maybe. And everything's fine. Look at that. Worked great. There we go. Yeah, it's starting to look pretty good with that Sharpie. Just keep that angle nice and consistent. I really hope the angle didn't change. Oops, all darkness, yep. I hope the angle doesn't change from side to side, otherwise I'll have to throw this jig into a fire. Because it's a total failure at that point. But it's probably okay. We'll keep testing it. As long as it's consistent, it's fine. Oh, let me try. I don't have any other good hats here. I think my hair is kind of a wreck though. Oh yeah, so it's the hat that does it, huh? Is the hat that does it. Gosh darn it. Yeah, I think you're right. That's my, and we're just gonna go no hat. Hair's not that bad. It's a little slept on, but let me just rub this really dirty glove in my hair and oil. See how we doing? Oops, pretty sticky uppy there. I just can't do a backwards hat yet, everybody. It just doesn't work. Okay. Let me try it one more time to refocus it without oops all darknessing. There. It's a little better. Just because I did move where the knife was in this tool, I'm just gonna double check this side quick. It's looking good. Yeah, it's just, as with so many things on the internet, just an astounding amount of conflicting information about sharpening knives out there. I bring my paper towels over here. I have one dirty paper towel from last week. Discombobulated, you guys. Let's switch grits. We're gonna go up to 400. I'm going to flip it so that I'm starting on the side with the burr. I'm digging this music. This is doing pretty good. Consider it like motivational dubstep. Sounds about right. This is like what bad like Facebook recuts of other people's DIY content would have playing over the top of it. I'm thinking about investing in a second cut-proof glove as I do this because it's very easy for me to forget. Okay, it's looking good there. I've joined the Sharpening subreddit, and you know, it's what you'd expect. I found some good beginner information, but it was one of those things where it was kind of frustrating because it was like one of the biggest posts this week was making fun of a sharpening infographic that gave some bad information. But there's a very small amount of actual good information and no like beginner's guide area. They didn't have any pinned posts or anything like that on what beginners should do. But I did find one person who posted a nice video set. Yeah, right. But you know, I just wanted to like trying to find like useful information on this is so it's tough, you know, trying to find really a good source of information on anything. That's a place to start to kind of dig into a subtopic. But I think my next thing I'm gonna try is just like knife making forums. Maybe I'll kind of dig in there and see what they have and what their take is. A couple of YouTubers that seem pretty popular. I'm switching to 800 grit, by the way. A couple of YouTubers that are fairly popular, but it's, you know, it's all hit and miss. Did I flip this already? So I'm feeling right now for the burr. So I can feel the burr is on the bottom side, so I'm gonna flip this before I start. That is super legit though, Tembeat. You lost me at subreddit. Very fair. As an added element of danger when doing this, everything becomes very slippery when it's covered in mineral oil. Maybe not the best combination of things. Tighten those here in a second. I love, as I go up through the grits, the change in sound. And how it sounds more and more silky smooth. So what was your class on today? We're at 1500 grit right now. These songs are getting kind of jazzy. A lot of material starting to build up here on this edge. It is amazing how time-consuming this task is. Like, it's very impressive to me that it is already 5:40. I feel like I just started. It just like takes up 100% of my attention doing these. Well, this end, thinking in chat and stuff, but definitely not thinking about a whole lot else, which, to be honest, is wonderful. Kind of nice to just do kind of a focused activity like this. So we really just think about only one thing. It's a little meditative, you know? I know, right? And there's a couple of bolts in here I need to tighten here in a minute before I go on to my next knife. Camera's out of focus. Oh no. My head got in the way. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some serious messing with this thing. Like maybe it can follow the focus when I move my hand down. Ah. Dang it, camera. I'm gonna need to get either a camera that's in better focus or a longer shirt. I'm gonna go all the way up to 3,000 grit today. Because when I was looking at the forums and other people giving information, there was basically what Reddit has on the Sharpening subreddit is a pissing competition, which is probably true for all subreddits, but a pissing competition as to how high a grit you can make your knife. So a lot of people use polishing compound and you really get like mirror finish edges, but some of the other information I was reading was talking about how, you know, that's not necessarily what you want. That kind of depends on your, you know, what you're using the knife for as to what kind of finish you want. Like a mirror edge is really nice for razors and stuff, but if it's like a knife that you're doing a lot of like sawing, kind of chopping kind of stuff, having it not be so polished is actually a good thing. It's good to have some little micro serrations, they're called. That helps with any kind of sawing activity. This is pretty shiny, I must say. Not a mirror finish, but it's quite bright. So there's people getting their knives up to like 400,000 grit with some diamond paste on a strop. It's like, wow, it's really shiny, really polished. Yeah, right? Cuts right through God's face. Yeah, and the thing with like stuff that's that polished is it's actually quite brittle. Oh god, I didn't do it too much. Yeah, we're gonna have to do a little bit of a disassembly here once we're done with this knife. because it's not locking in right because there's a loose bolt. So I'm just very lightly gonna do just a few passes, and we're gonna try and remove the burr. Do both sides. Just a very small pass like that. I'm putting almost no weight on this handle. All right, let's see if we can get some light to refract off this edge. I don't know the best way to do this. Oh, there we go. You can see the edge on there. Pretty shiny. There's a fancy new edge right there. That is quite sharp. Let's do that. Definitely did shave hair off my arm. Not like exceedingly well, but I'm gonna cut myself if I keep trying that bag. I gotta practice that. It's kind of a showy offy thing, and like really, this probably isn't sharp enough for it because I probably need to strop it a little bit with some leather to get that edge really nice. But like, this edge is significantly improved from before. So I gotta figure out some good knife tests, you guys. Good ways to figure out if this is actually as sharp as I think it is. And we'll try a paper test. See how it does cutting paper. So I doubt this is gonna work, but this is what a lot of people show off their knife sharpening with. What do you? Oh, what do you know? She does a decent job. Nope. So it actually is doing an okay job cutting that paper. Cool. That actually did a thing. That's cool. That's pretty sharp. Cool. I think we're gonna start on the bayonet here. So just to see, maybe this just does this already, and that's not actually a great test. Oh, no, this is a good test. So this very much just tears the paper. I don't know if you can see better on here, but it's like just a little, maybe we can do one of these. So this is very much impossible to see, but you see it's kind of just torn, not actually cut. whereas with the sharpened knife, it did cut through with a clean edge. So this is what we're hoping to get with our bayonet here. So like I said before, I figured out what this was just searching up, like doing bayonet identification. And from what I can tell, this is a Yugoslavian AK-47 bayonet. And some people really like to use them as survival knives, but everyone on the forums really didn't agree with them too much on the bayonet forums, because they don't hold an edge very well apparently. And some people were like, but if you really like it, who cares? Just use it. So I kind of like that mentality. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to spend a little bit of time on the piece of marble that I have here. And I'm a little terrified of doing this to this knife. I don't think I'm going to, I mean, I can't really irreversibly damage it unless I break it somehow. But I'm concerned that if I do this next step, I'm gonna put some scratches in it that are gonna be really hard to hide. You know, when I look at it, kind of like shine it up a little bit, it's already got some scratches. It's definitely a little brushed already. So yeah, I'm not gonna do anything too terrible to it. If I wanted to get it really shiny again, I'd have to basically get a buffing wheel and some buffing compound and go about it that way. So what we have here is, maybe we can move this a little bit to make this a little more interesting for you. There we go. What we have here is we have 3000 grit, 2500 grit, 2000 grit, and 1500 grit sandpaper. And this is maybe a little out of focus, but so this is all the sandpaper that we have. I'm going to start on this flat side on this 1500 grit, and I'm just going to I'm going to hold it really flat against this piece of marble and just really try and keep it nice and flatten it out. I've stuck all of the sandpaper to a piece of marble tile that's cut marble tile, so it's cut with a giant saw to make it really flat. And so that's the kind of the key with this. You can do this on a piece of glass, or I mean, stone tile is really probably the best because glass. I had a glass one not a week ago and it shattered. And then I had broken glass that I had to deal with. So don't deal with broken glass. It's not something I'd really recommend to anybody. So the stone is a little bit more durable and just as flat. And then what you do is you take some Super 77, which is some 3M spray adhesive, and you stick the sandpaper to the tile. And again, I'm using mineral oil. It's a recommended polishing oil. And I'm just going to start on the heaviest grit that I have. I'm starting on the 1000 grit. And I'm putting even pressure on here. And I'm going to probably remove my glove here so I can use both hands. And I'm just, it's kind of like sticking to it. Oh yeah, it's also a laxative and a cutting board conditioner, that's right. I had this bottle because I was working on different formulations of canvas wax. So I was melting different parts, beeswax, paraffin, mineral oil, and other kind of oils, other non-drying oils, for making a custom waxed canvas compound that I've used on some of my things that I've built. I'm really trying to keep this flat. It's not wanting to slide very much. It's kind of tacky. But I don't know how much I'm just like floating on the oil. versus actually doing anything. But we'll just keep going. Hopefully this isn't making my desk move too much. It is a little bit, but... I don't know how I feel about bayonets, you guys. I don't really care for them too much. They're just like, you know, I mean, you can have hunting knives and stuff that are, especially military surplus ones. You can have hunting knives and stuff, and that's fine. Survival knives, you know, whatever kind of mall ninja knife you want, that's cool. But like a military surplus bayonet kind of weirds me out. Because they're like pretty evil devices. They're not good. And I wouldn't normally be doing anything with one except for that it was requested. So. Okay. I might have used too much oil, maybe? I'm not sure. Wipe a little bit off. Might just be just floating on top of the oil, not really getting much done here, but I'm gonna keep at it for a little while. And this is the same process that you'd go through for sharpening a chisel. I haven't mentioned that already. With a chisel, you really want to just flatten out one side real good. And yeah, so this is looking a little bit foggier on this side now. That means I am at least doing a little bit of progress on it. Feels a little sharper already. We're just going to keep working on flattening it out. Keep going at this grit for a while. This is where we're going to get the most done, is with this grit. If there's any issues with it, this will find it. I don't think that this has ever been sharpened before. Just looking at the edge on the hollow grind, I'm not thinking that it's ever been actually sharpened, because there's still like paint in there from the grind. So sharpening knives and sharpening things is one of the only things in the long dark that you can do when it's dark, when it's like nighttime. You can do this as opposed to any other crafts. I just don't see it happening. This would be extremely difficult to do in pitch black. Maybe if you had a jig set up or something like that, but I don't think my long dark dude has that situation rigged up. Not from complaining. It's nice to be able to do something when it's really dark like that. But we must contact the devs immediately. I'm doing it. I'm moving up a grit. Make sure to wipe off anything that's on my knife right now. We don't bring over any of that grit from the other side. This is a little bit finer, so we should start to see, as we get more and more finer, up to the true grit section. And I apologize, I have to move this kind of closer to me, I think. Oh no, this is fine. Well, I'm gonna move this, and then I've got to move. Oops, that's dangerous. That fell into my lap. A little terrifying. Oopsie-dazzles. Let's not do that. Local man stabs himself on bayonet. Yeah, almost got. Yeah, I'm gonna actually have to move this here just so I can have my wrist positioned properly for this. Local Dem sharpens knives ahead of election. I'm so anxious, you guys. This is terrible. Just keep working on this kind of project, Grants. This kind of thing where you can just let your mind get absorbed. See, I think this is just like a little bit too boring for me, because like with the other like jig, I have to like focus on more stuff happening, so my mind doesn't wander as much. But like this is like a little too boring for me. This is typically, I would consider this definitely like an audiobook sort of activity. Yep, exactly. That's the problem with boring, is that you stop paying attention. So I'm getting some good polish around here in this area. I'm seeing if I can get the light to catch that well enough. There we go. So if it's like that, you can kind of see I'm getting some good fogginess here. Not as much up here. It's kind of hard to press down there, and not as much right here. So I'm going to try and focus on those areas. Really pushing hard on those, not as much in that other spot where I was. Just because I want this really consistently flat. I wish I had any control over what my face does as I do this, but I really don't. I'm gonna do one more spot, I think, with this grit. I'm gonna focus right this tip right here. That part's still shiny, not fogged up yet. Make sure to have your pinky fully extended. I'm just kidding, that's not actually a thing. I think after doing this project, I might be interested in getting a buffing wheel out in my shop. I think a buffing wheel would make a big difference aesthetically on this project. I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make on the actual sharpness, but... Okay, we're up to 2500 grit. Hey, there we go. That works a lot better. Yeah, this is starting to look good. So, see if we can get this to bounce the light properly. So we're starting to transition from fogginess to actual really nice reflection here. So, I mean, this side is just as reflective, but we're starting to get much more. If you look at my reflection, my finger's reflection here, see how much more definition is here versus here in the reflection. I think this matters, so I'm not really sure. But it is more uniformly flat. So we're getting there. What's happening here? I wonder if I'm shaving the oh, that's probably from this cloth. Oh yeah, this is starting to look really nice. Yeah, cool. I'm gonna get a little bit more oil in here, and then I'm gonna do the next grit in another couple of minutes here. So I think before my next sharpening video, I'm going to, I think we can move this up now. I've changed my technique a little bit. Before our next sharpening video, I'm going to try and make a jig for sharpening hatchets and axes and stuff. And give those a sharpen, because those are a little tall. Although I'm a little nervous to do so, because with things like hatchets and axes, you don't really want them super sharp if you're not really good at using them, because with a knife it's a lot harder to just like oops cut your hand off or cut your fingers off, but with a hatchet it's really, you know, toes, pretty risky if you have it like super duper sharp. And with splitting, you don't really need it that sharp, so I don't know. I'm a little undecided. Let's see if we can see this at all. We're getting a pretty good mirror here. See some pretty good definitions. Let's see if you can see the lettering on this knife. Not really, but you can still see a pretty good reflection in it. This side, again, this is the side that isn't polished. Actually, you can see it just as fine there. So maybe this is a terrible test, I don't know. We'll see. We're just gonna say that we're making progress. It definitely feels very smooth. It's kind of uniformly a little foggy, which is good. Already the knife is quite a bit sharper just by flattening that out. So what's for dinner, Vec and Tembeep? Curious. What's your favorite meal this week? What's the meal of the week? Moving up to the 3000 grit. Instant pasta. Nice. Isn't all pasta kind of instant pasta, or is there like a specific kind that's instant? Like pasta sides pasta? Mac and cheese. Okay. Nice. Frozen nachi. Sounds good. I haven't really had much nachi. Ganachi? Ganochi. How do you say that? Am I saying that right? Nachi? Big plans to make fancy breakfast. Gnocchi. Gnocchi. Okay. Yeah. Amen to that. Feeling real tired. Gnocchi. Gnocchi? Is that about right? Gnocchi. 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 That seems right. Okay. Looking nice and flat. Just inspecting the edge, making sure I'm staying true to keeping it flat and not rounding it at all. You know, even if it's lazy meals, good on you for like eating this week. That's good. Because that's hard to do consistently. It's eating like anything. So. Because like, you know what could also be a lazy meal is just like getting takeout or something. And that's way worse for you, probably, than instant noodles. We're trying some bronze cut noodles tonight. It was a recommendation from a friend of mine that I have to try these bronze cut things because apparently they're where it's at. It's like a rougher, going outside does take a lot of effort. It's like a rougher press or something like that, die for the noodle, which makes it hold sauce a little bit better apparently, so. Nope. Ooh, this is starting to look pretty good, everybody. We're gonna keep going on this grid for a while. I like it. I'm just going back and forth here. I'm not going to do circles anymore, so that I can, if I do have any lines in here, if anything shows up from doing this sanding, that it's consistent. It's not like you can't see a weird. You can't see like a circular pattern. It just looks like a back and forth, which will look more like a brushed metal kind of look. Yeah, we're looking good. Really getting there, getting somewhere. So definitely getting very high definition reflections here. Nice and shiny. So the knife is just way sharper now. This might only need me to do this backside. I might not need to do the bevel with that jig. Like I said, I'm a little nervous to do so. In theory, just cleaning up this back side of it should do the trick. Still just kind of rips it. Well, maybe we'll have to work on that. I'm gonna keep working on this just a little bit. We're gonna do another little bit of layer. I had a nice little fire last night. It was a little cool. Kind of got pretty cold eventually. I made a big pot of some mint tea, mint medley tea of my own picking. It was peppermint, catnip, some nettles, and put a little bit of raspberry leaf in there. Had that heated up on the little wood stove that I have, and oh, that was just lovely. Really nice time. So, feels fairly sharp to the touch, but I think I'm gonna hit it with the, I'm gonna put it in the clamp and work on that a little bit. Even though it's hollow ground, I don't think, you know, it's just the nervousness about permanently changing the knife with it not being mine, but I'm not going to be the only person to ever sharpen it, and I think it'll be better off adding that bevel to it. I'm going to move down my marble tile Before I start this, we said we were going to tighten it a little bit. It looks like we're out of focus again. Maybe it'll do that again. So before I really get going, we're going to take this apart a little bit. It'll be fun for you all to see kind of how this thing is put together a little bit anyway. So I'm going to take off this back part. We just got some screws we got to tighten, so that flew across the room. I'm gonna have to get that in a minute. Have the spring. So just kind of making sure all of this is still proper. So this little screw here, moving around. So we got to tighten the crap out of that. Can't be having that move around. And it's a Phillips on one side and a little screw or a little nut on the other. So I'm going to take out my pocket Phillips. There's a little Stanley Phillips screwdriver. Very nice. I like it. It's like a pen. I think I need to be a little bit more of a wider Phillips, maybe. I just hate Phillips heads. They're kind of the worst. So easy to strip. Get this in the right spot. I'm putting this up as high as it goes. Hopefully this isn't one of those like carefully calibrated at the factory type things. I don't think it is. Get this piece that rolled away from me. Let's reassemble this thing. Let's see, is this supposed to turn? Looks like it is. There's some ball bearings in there. Okay, now I'm going to reassemble here. It's fully apart. Come on. Really should get some thread lock on this. That'd be smart. Don't think this will mess up the threads. We're good. Okay, good to go. Okay, so we're going to put that around, loosen this up. Not the right side. So for this knife, we're not going to have to do any flipping, which I think is good. I don't know how good this is actually going to hold. How much mineral oil is on here. Before I continue, I'm going to put on my cut-proof glove. Do not injure myself. That is still just moving around a lot. I don't like that. I have to move it further back. Pretty solid. Okay, so now we're gonna play the bevel game. Let's see how shallow, or not shallow, I need to make this. I'm kind of leaning towards a 25-degree bevel on this, which is, oops, 25-degree bevel. It's right here, so let's see how that looks. That is too shallow. Degrees. That. Still likely too shallow. Like this. So any of these looking like it's kind of not, it's riding against the main bevel and not this this smaller bevel. So I'm not sure if I want to go like this high. This seems ridiculous. So this is I'm just so hesitant. Oh. There it is. So I'm not seeing this going super well based on where this is riding. I could try to go for this, but it's quite steep when you get down to this part of it. So let's see where I can make the protractor. This is how not scientific this is. We're kind of just like super eyeballing this stuff. How did I do this last time? You're looking at this angle. Well, no. That's right. This is so not scientific. Don't like it. Jeez. So I'm trying to line this up with the flat of the knife. And that's approximately it. And I'm gonna go with saying it's very approximate. About a 40-degree angle. Right there. It's still not steep enough. It's wild. I think I'm gonna put a flat bevel on this and have it be, they say for like hunting knives and stuff, like 30, what people usually recommend. But I think we're just gonna max this out and do a micro bevel on this edge. And I'm not gonna use 180. I'm gonna go right to 800, I think. Yeah. It's just such a weird knife. So I think I'm gonna do this, and I'm just gonna Sharpie the edge. Make sure I'm not going too shallow and damaging this nice edge that they have on this other side. Nope. I think I need to go up. Yeah, well, that is still too shallow. What the hell? I think we might just call flattening it out a done deal. Because this is just going to be like just a bastard to sharpen. Like in order to get this to do a 30-degree bevel, which is what they recommend for hunting knives, they being the internet. Well, no, I could do this and not destroy the other bevel. We're gonna do it. We're gonna put a 30-degree bevel on this because I don't like this hollow ground thing. everyone was saying that they're usually just super dull as they get out, as they start. I think this will make it for a better knife. That's going to be easier to sharpen in the future. Oh. Thanks, moderator. So fast. Way to go. Alright, so we're putting a 30-degree bevel on this because that'll make it just way easier to sharpen in the future. To have a bevel on it that's not hollow ground. And being at 30 degrees, it'll be sharper, and quite robust. So I'm gonna do this, and I'm not gonna damage, it's not gonna damage the other part of the bevel. So what this one is doing, it's so weird why I'm kind of struggling with it, is on the hollow ground part, it's like, so it's like this, and then it's like, so here's that part of the knife, it goes down, and then it goes like this. So I was trying to get an angle that's sharp enough to just kind of go along this edge, like that, and I couldn't get this jig to be steep enough. So what I'm trying to make sure I don't do is trying to get into this too much. And this is a little extreme, it's actually more like that kind of a thing, or actually that's the longer bevel, and then you get like a little bit of something like this. So I'm just going to be re-honing this to be a little bit more flat there at 30 degrees. And I think it will be better off because of that. And I need to, because of the way that this is flattened, I need to be doing push strokes only. Do you think I could have waffled any more on this decision? I don't know if I could have. Just a lot more of a decision to make when it's not your knife, you know, it's not your thing. a significant amount of material moving here just to get this re-flattened out at the angle that I want. Made quite a bit of progress on this side. This curve here is proving to be a little difficult. I'm gonna make sure I have enough oil in here. So Vec 10 Beep, any other good streams going on tonight? Or anyone else on the channel, any other good streams going on this evening? Peter's being a pile of garbage right now. Oh no. That's no good. I hate it when my computer does that. We're getting pretty close to our edge here. Oh, that sounds pretty exciting. I misread that as looking for a bathtub and forgot about the looking for the bathtub game, and I thought it was going to be a stream of them walking around like a hardware store looking for a bathtub, like choosing the right bathtub. I forgot. Nope. They on the typical like 3D warehouse thing, I think they've started to hide the bathtub. You can't actually access that room unless there's another copy of it somewhere where they've unhid it. Then I know the main one, like you can't even find the 3D warehouse link on the listing anymore. I hope someone made like a copy of it or some kind of other way to make it playable. This knife is going to be so much more useful after this, I think. So once I get this down on this 180 grit, the rest of them should go super fast, the rest of the grits. But it's just this one because I'm kind of changing the profile. This one's taking quite a bit of effort. So what's the find the bathtub game like after they've removed the bathtub? Oh, nice. I feel like this stage of the process would have been better. Oh yeah, bathtub hunt is hilarious. This step of the process would have been better done on like a grinder, honestly. Or some other thing that could have been better at removing material. Maybe use just a file. Something a little coarser. I'm gonna stick with it though. We've got, gosh, just a really small amount left over here. Hands are cramping up. What I might end up doing we're kind of losing the tip of it a little bit. At the end of the process, I think I might go out with my grinder actually and make this more of a pointy tip. Right now though, I'm just going to focus on this edge. Good to see you, golf cart. Did you get your switch all configured and working good? For your Elgato? Nice. Cool. Good to hear. Still not done. Switching to the PS4 over the weekends. Hopefully things go just as smoothly. Yeah, that's cool. What you playing on PS4? Persona 5, Royal cosplaying as character from the game. Cool, that's fun. Super fun. Still not quite done. This thing is like starting to smell like the grinding material. Well, I was hoping to end the stream at 7, but we got it. We can't stop now. We got a lot we gotta get done here. Let's see what this profile looks like. Man, this is chewing up more material than I really wanted, but it's at least looking consistent. It's just the angle is so steep on the other cut. I still think that this is going to be better though. It's going to be a lot easier to maintain afterwards. And besides, at this point, I kind of have to follow through with what my plan was. Or it's going to be worse than it was before, which is not what we want. Knife isn't moving here. Yep, we're getting there. Very close. We have like there's like 1/8 of a millimeter, or some like stupidly small amount. Like honestly, it's less than, you know, thinking of like a pencil lead. It's like half the width of a pencil lead that I have to go on here, and maybe a pencil lead over here of part that still has the hollow grind. So I'm going to keep working away here. We're almost done. Once we're done with this component, this part of it, then the rest of it should be pretty cake, pretty easy peasy. This is taking so long because this is a pretty fine grit. What I'm doing, I'd much better off be like, if I had like something that was like 100 grit or something, would make this go a lot faster. I don't think I have anything like that. Let me check here, I might. Let's see what this one is. I'd be ashamed to switch at this point. What about pointing one out? Totally leaned in to look at the screen closer when pointing that out. Pointing which component? The how much is left on my grind that I have to cut off? Yeah, I can't, even if I get like Like, I'll pull my magnifying glass out. What is this? 120. Maybe we'll stick this in there for a little bit. These are the ones that came with this jig, and everyone says that they're like really, they wear away really fast. So I just got a different set right away. Get rid of this tape. Yeah, let's see if we can tell anything. See if we can tell. Okay, so over here. So see that really fine, the fine black line there? That's all that we have left to do. We have to grind that away. And over here you see there's a little bit more of that fine black line. So you can see where we've reprofiled it. So all of this, so here's the secondary bevel that was built into the knife. You see where this angle changes right there? And then so all of this shiny part here, this is the new bevel that we're putting on. So I could have matched this angle, but I would have probably had to remove quite a bit more material before I could get down to replace it. So I wanted to not remove too much material as I go, because already I'm removing a lot more than I'm super comfortable with. But once I get rid of that last black line piece, then we're like in a much better spot, and we can just cycle up through the grits like we have been for the rest of these. I'm switching to this 120 grit scale because, you know, the roughest one that I've had before taking this one out is 180, so this should help a little bit just for material removal. Go back here. Yeah, it's kind of neat, isn't it? I'd be very curious what the lieutenant colonel in your lives would think of me rebeveling this. If it would be positive or negative, I'm not sure. I'm actually gonna move this light. Actually, does help me a little bit, like this. It's not too in the way. I really like this, that I can switch grits on here and not change the angle of anything. That's no good. Twisted on me. It didn't damage the knife. I think it did. It's really hard not to like clench my jaw or grip my teeth as I do this, just based on how awful this sounds. I think it's just like naturally you want to clench your jaw working with this kind of thing. Yeah. Hey, that's a really good feeling though. I like that. You know, that's something I definitely miss is, you know, it's my favorite thing about being in school, for like in the sculpture studio stuff and during art classes. It's just like working on projects with friends in a shop together. It's just like, it's so nice. You know, being able to like poke your head in and kind of see what other people are up to and bounce ideas off of them. It's just kind of a nice feeling. Yeah, and I'm hoping to give this to the person who requested me to do this knife this weekend, so I kind of got to get this done. So I would be doing this anyway, so it's nice to do it with some friends. We're so close. Yeah, being this is the roughest stone that I have, this is just absolutely going to be the loudest. We're almost there. I am growing weary of this part of this process already. But it's been like what, like 30 minutes of me working on this particular part of the project. Well, we've done it in at least... There's a good part of this that's done already, actually. Cool. We just have a little bit left over here, and then right here, but this here is done. All right. Going to be very satisfying when I'm done with this. Definitely going to be, how long do you sharpen a knife and how do you know when it's too much? Any knife, okay, so just reading this here. How long do you sharpen a kitchen knife and how do you know when it's too much? I just meant any knife, not just a kitchen knife, sorry, using voice chat. First of all, never apologize for using speech to text because I use that all of the time. And it's hilarious when it doesn't work. So, I mean, there's a couple things. Like, one of the considerations that I have with this knife is that I don't know if only part of it has been hardened. So some knives are only hardened, you know, I guess I'll just point it out on this one. They're only hardened in one spot, you know, towards the edge of the knife. This being softer on the back side actually makes it more durable and less likely to break. The edge should be hardened quite a bit because the more hard it is, doesn't always understand New England. If this edge is hard, it can actually hold, it can get sharper, it can hold more of an edge to it. But if your whole knife is really hard, then it's in general quite brittle. So you kind of want to have a good split between the two of having it hardened only on the side that's cutting. So you could sharpen it, if you remove enough material, you could sharpen it too far back and get past where it's hardened, and thus it will no longer hold an edge. I'm kind of gambling a little bit with that. I'm guessing since this is so cheap, they probably just hardened the whole thing or didn't harden any of it. We'll kind of see. I think it'll be able to hold an edge fine and not going back that far from the very edge. So for kitchen knives, you want to have what are called micro serrations. So you don't want to get it like razor sharp. You want to actually have little tiny serrations in there that are better for slicing, like if you're doing vegetables and stuff. However, on all of the sharpening forums and things, everyone like gets their knives up to like a gazillion grit and makes it like super duper razor sharp because that's what they want to do. and it's actually just less good for kitchen use. Some other things that can happen is you can have too shallow of an angle, which makes the tip, you know, you can have a really sharp knife by having a really shallow angle on your knife, you know, like this, having it really shallow, that make it really, really sharp. But then it's more likely to get bent at the tip because it's too shallow. So you kind of want to find a middle ground of having the angles not so shallow, so that it still can be sharp but hold an edge longer. And so for outdoors knives, like this one, I'm choosing to do a 30-degree angle. However, for a kitchen knife, it's recommended to be between 14 and 20 degrees for a kitchen knife, because you're probably not like trying to split wood with a kitchen knife, whereas for outdoors knives, you kind of sometimes are. You're like, I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want with this knife because I'm surviving or something. So you want to have more of a wider angle for outdoors knives so that they hold their edge a little bit longer. There are, like if you're using like a sharpening steel or like just a kitchen sharpener, like really handy, like one you just like zing the blade through. Those only work for so long. At some point you might need to reprofile them, which is what this jig does. Is this jig creates a new profile for stuff, which kind of helps you start from scratch. So, and if you look at like really old knives, like from, you know, 1920 or something like that, like grandparents' knives, you'll see the knife is actually like, instead of being like flat like this, it'll bow in, and there won't be as much knife there because it's been sharpened so many times. The material has been removed a lot, and you end up going further and further back from the edge of the knife because it's been sharpened too much. That's too much, and that's just like resharpened too many times with too much material being removed each time. So I'm trying to be cautious about the material removal stuff, but with this one, because it's never really been sharpened after the factory, I'm reprofiling it so that it can be sharpened much more easily without removing material. Oh god, we have such a small amount left. We're good from here to here. We're totally good. We still have a little bit right here and a little bit right here, which I might not even do. And like this one, I've kind of, you know, essentially I've removed the tip. It's no longer like a pointy tip on this knife, which is kind of a bummer, but I'm gonna have to grind down on this edge. I'm gonna bring this edge this way a little bit to make this really pointy. But I'll have to do that in my shop later. So, I mean, a kitchen knife, if you get it to like 4,000 grit or like 10,000 grit, that's like sharper than is useful. So I think, to answer your question most directly, you can't make it too sharp. You just like get diminishing returns on sharpening it, where it's not going to be any more useful to you as a kitchen knife or as a knife. Usually when I've done all the rest of these, it's like maybe 40 minutes tops per knife. And I've already spent, you know, 50 minutes on this one. That's because I'm changing the way that it's shaped, changing the way that the tip is shaped. So I don't know if you're on when I was explaining this before, but this knife had this kind of bevel here, where it was hollow ground, where it has a little bit of curve, and I'm making it more like this, more flat. So I'm kind of changing the way this knife is going to be sharpened for the rest of its existence. But I think it will be better. Come on, not quite done yet. Just making sure the angle's still good. Yep, we're still... I'm gonna Sharpie it actually, that's what we're gonna do. Just wanna make sure this is still doing a good job. This is a really good way to cut up the tip of your Sharpie, by the way. Oh yeah. We're still rock and rolling on the same angle here, just like we want. We're just working on this end right here. This is the only part that still needs a little bit of work. I'm really surprised at how much work this was. I was not expecting this to be quite so full of effort to get this to be where I want it to be. Are we there? I don't want to do this prematurely. Almost there. Very, very, very close. Oops. I might just have to end the stream at some point here. I was really expecting to be done about a half hour ago. Gonna eat food eventually. Kinda just want to finish this though, you know? Okay, I think we're done with this beveling. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Ugh. Okay. Now to 180. Man, that was a lot of work. What kind of beer are you kegging, Beck? Oh, this is starting to look good. Moving up to 400 grit. This is my workout for the day, by the way. Seeing a little bit of a weirdness here. Just want to make sure I'm not losing any angles. That's what I thought was happening. So this is not getting all the way to the edge. So gotta figure out why that is. There we go. The knife jiggled a little bit in the clamp. It's no good. Definitely not what we want to have happen right now. Not after spending all that time getting the angle right. Very problematic for it. The knife is actually like a little warm to the touch from how much I'm grinding it in here. Okay, go up to 800 grit. Almost done. I think we're gonna probably end up at like a 3-hour stream tonight. I'm really starting to get that better sound. My wife is probably wondering, what the hell is taking him so long? Ooh yeah, starting to sound silky smooth. I like it. I'm gonna have to re-flatten out the other side a little bit, I think. Kind of a bummer, but should be okay. It's not that big of a deal. Make sure to wipe this down. I think this paper towel is getting pretty gross. Next, we're on to 2000 grit. Yeah, I'll have to get some sharpening scales at above 3000 at some point. Could be kind of fun. I know for some of these other ones that I have duplicates of, from the ones that came with this kit, I'm gonna epoxy some leather to them, use as a strop. Sharpie's starting to be a little wrecked from all the oil on it. Oops, too much. This is a 3000 grit. Oh yeah, looking nice and shiny. I'm going to try and make sure to go in the same direction here so it looks more uniform and finished. Kind of pushing up and to the left. Consistently as I can. I might have to try and find someone with a grinding wheel. Or a buffing wheel, sorry. Just to kind of smooth this out so we can hide some of these strokes here. It looks a little bit more professionally done. That is very sharp. Cool. I think I'm nearly done. So I'm trying to feel. You know, I'm not feeling any bevel, any burr on the other side, which is really good. And it is extremely sharp. Do a few more passes. Done. Okay. I think that's all that I can actually do. I'll still strop it at some point after. So we completely re-beveled this thing. We flattened out the back really good. And I really hope that this doesn't just tear the paper. It actually cuts it pretty good. Hey, alright. Cool. Yeah, alright. We improved it. That's what matters. So here's the edge of the paper here that I just cut. I can't see that too well. But it's like a pretty clean cut. Let's do another test here. It's still not quite as sharp as the other one, but like, oh man, this is looking good. Yep, we did it. Pour a little bit. It's just such a thick knife. Oh, it's not looking quite as good. But this is still a defined improvement, so hopefully it doesn't look too bad with this secondary bevel. Let's try this out. So here's the knife, right? There's the secondary bevel. This is my new bevel here. Really bright part. It's my new bevel. Secondary bevel. And then the flat. You can see there's not too many markings. It's pretty even. It gets pretty big up here. There's a lot of this bevel, but this should be an outstanding hunting knife. I'm gonna run it on the flattening stone one more time before I call it quits for the night, just to make sure it's all good to go. This should help. That was easily over an hour for this knife. That was very sharp. Cool. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for watching me sharpen knives for a while. I'm pleased with how this one turned out. I think it's good. There are some serrations in the back, some serrated knife things. These have never been dulled, and these from the factory are going to be hella sharp, so I think they're fine. But this knife went from being kind of sharpish, I guess, to being pretty terrifyingly sharp. So I'm going to spend a few minutes stropping this with some leather later. Now, it doesn't have much of a tip. We'll see. Just put half a gallon of rehydrated powdered peanut butter through the mouth of a glass carboy. Yeah, that sounds like quite the task there, Mr. Kruger. Yeah, I think so too. So tonight we are able to sharpen the bayonet here, as well as, did we do this one? We did this one, didn't we? I don't even remember. I think we did this knife, yeah. We did the bayonet and then this Kershaw folding knife. I am gassed. That was a lot of work. So tune in next week. This time slot, Thursday at 5, is my IRL The Long Dark, or essentially just me doing crafty things. So thanks. I'm going to be working on some possibilities for next week. Are sharpening hatchets, cleaning up some hatchets. I might be rehandling an axe. I might be splitting some wood. It's going to be kind of one of those things. I'm going to see in the next couple weeks. I'm going to try and get my sewing room rigged up for some streams. Right now it's not going to happen yet, but tune in on Sunday night at 8 o'clock. Going to be doing my Spark Fun stream from right here, working on electronics. And yeah, thank you so much. Hope everyone has a wonderful night. And yeah, have a good weekend. I'll catch you later. Thanks. Yeah, you too.